We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being number 2, you're gonna go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of our 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountains. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparationist perspective, bringing you those freaking hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our votes, socializing our suffering. How y'all doing, family? I see you. Facebook, I see you. ScrewTube, I see you. Twitter, I see you. Twitter Space. Thank you, one and all, for joining the live. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you so much for being here, one and all. Hold on, family. Let me wave my banner so you guys will know how to reach me, how to bless the broadcast if you feel so compelled. Thank you so much, one and all, for being here. Well, this became a little bit of an emergency because we are just a few weeks out from the midterms. And I'm seeing a lot of our people in particular sitting up here acting as if they've got the luxury of withholding their votes. And they're hoping that certain individuals lose. That's not how any of this is going to work. If we don't collectively weaponize this vote for the 22 midterms and socialize this suffering, I see you, The Rock. Thank you for joining live. We are done. We barely have an opportunity this election cycle at the rate in which this country has been overwrought with immigrants. And so I'm here today to show you a peek into your future. It's already happening all over the country. It's spreading to a town near you. I'm sure many of you are feeling it. I'm sure you're looking around your neighborhoods and they're changing. While nothing is changing for American freedmen, things are getting worse. We are worse off now than we were during Jim Crow. And that is the sad-ass truth. Hi, Yaira. I see you, family. And I'm about to make that case right here, right now, to show you how withholding the vote for tangibles, no vote, no tangibles, how these are not political strategies that are going to really help freedmen get above this Titanic. What you're going to do is you're simply going to set us up for the fate of our lineage to be determined by immigrants who seek to replace us, okay, and Crayola white supremacists who seek to erase us. Let's get into it. Let me show you what's been going on down here in LA. And trust and believe you me, this has been going on since we relocated up out in this piece, since our ancestors migrated out west. It's been some of the worst racism leveled at American freedmen since we migrated here to get away from the South. Folks think the South is bad. You ain't seen nothing till you see racism in LA, because it's not going to always be in your face. You know how pretty LA is and how you can literally be in a hood and not know it till the gunshots start going off. That is exactly how the politics work out here. You don't even know what's happening until you look up in your neighborhood and nobody looks like you. Until you look in your Senate, in your House of Representatives, and nobody looks like you. And the few that look like you are in fact working for the immigrants. They're married to the immigrants. They're making babies with the immigrants while they're driving you about your state. And I'm showing you, like I've been doing for the last couple years, a peek into your future, because as California goes, so goes the nation, especially with Governor Newsom intending to run for president. And when that happens, as we sit up here and foolishly not use our votes like the missile it currently is, and the clock is ticking, we are out of freaking time, and y'all not gonna feel it until it comes on your heads, and you're gonna have to deal with this kind of nonsense we're dealing with right now. Stand by, let me share what's going on with Nuri Martinez out here. Many of you already know, but this is just, they're just upset that it got exposed. You see, somebody must want her head on a platter, because this was recorded a year ago. So somebody wants her out. They're playing games and they want to incite us, and they're using us again to pretend and to grift off of our pain, our oppression, our frustration, while doing nothing for our highest rates of homelessness, highest rates of unemployment, highest rates of underemployment. While you're looking at this, they are killing us economically and driving us up out the state. And like I'm telling you, I promise, it's coming to your state. It's coming to your city. Here we go. The mayhem that's going on out here right now. I'm going to share a video with those of you who are watching live, and my Twitter space. Listen in. I'll be letting you guys weigh in momentarily. Stand by. This is a mess.
LA City Council in turmoil after racist remarks are made public.
Tonight, protesters are calling for the immediate resignation of former council president Nuri Martinez and 2 other members as the scandal intensifies. We have live team coverage on the political uproar and the growing fallout. We begin with Mary Beth McDade live at City Hall tonight. Mary Beth.
And Mike and Cher, things are pretty quiet out here tonight, but earlier today it was a whole different story when the cries for these 3 city council members to resign grew extremely loud, both out here in front of City Hall and inside the chamber. Outrage filled a packed LA City Council chamber. 2 of the 4 heard on the racist recording showed up for the city council meeting, Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon. The disgraced city councilmen finally left, basically forced out by the angry crowd. The crowd finally quieted when an emotional councilman, Mike Bonin, spoke.
I am reeling from the revelations of what these people said.
Councilwoman Nuri Martinez can be heard criticizing Bonin's adopted black son, calling him a little monkey in Spanish.
And then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. The kid is bouncing
off the effing walls on the floor, practically tipping it over. You guys know, but this has to be memorialized here. There's nothing you can do.
Stabbed us and shot us and cut the spirit of Los Angeles.
Then it was the public's turn to speak.
And I condemn her for her words because she has laid a nuclear bomb here that we will not allow to divide us.
The reason this is a hard meeting to conduct is because we heard an hour of some of the most hateful things the city has ever heard from 3-4 people in some of the most powerful positions in Los Angeles. People are hurting.
Acting City Council President Mitch O'Farrell agreed his colleagues must go.
The court of public opinion has rendered a verdict, and the verdict is they all must resign.
Meantime, outside City Hall, demonstrators showed unity and condemned the racist remarks while calling for the city council members to resign.
We cannot have representatives who are racist. Racists do not represent our communities, so we need immediate resignations.
Martinez didn't attend Tuesday's meeting, saying she's taking a leave of absence. She has stepped down as city council president, but hasn't given up her seat. Neither have De Leon or Cedillo. The only one to resign is the 4th person involved in the disturbing discussion, labor leader Ron Herrera.
They have never been representing our communities. People, that's why we feel that it's very strongly that we need to start voting around values and not around identity politics.
Well, President Joe Biden has joined the very long list of people calling on these 3 city council members to resign. Now, the city council does not have the power to force them to do so, but they did file a motion today to censure them. For now, reporting live here at City Hall, Mary Beth McDade. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
So there you have it. So that is what was happening yesterday and on throughout today. Let me stop that video. This is what they're doing out here. But listen, this is what they got caught doing. Okay? That's what they got caught doing. This has been going on for a long time, as I mentioned. It's been going on since we migrated out west. Now, let me take you to what's happening, like the real story. The real story is that not only are these people in office, I want to share the screen to show you how we've only got 1 black senator in the entire state. Let me show you that. Stand by. You got to see what's going on out here, family. It's a nightmare. I'm sharing the screen. This is what you call taxation without representation. This is how we've gone down. Make sure you can see it. This is how we've gone down from 17 to, they say 6%, but it's really about 3%. Just take a look at who is running the state. I don't know that this looks any different. You actually may have more black on your as senators in wherever you live because you've got more black constituents. We had more black constituents, but this is what we're reduced to. Stephen Bradford, who sits on the task force out here for reparations. But look at everyone else. You see, white and immigrants run the state. You see it for yourself. One black gentleman. This is what we're up against, family. And so when you've only got one black senator, and I can't seem to find, I have to find the pictures of the ones, the House of Rep and the rest of that, but pretty much it's made up and comprised in the same way. We've got Karen Bass, Maxine Waters, let's see here, Barbara Lee, I think. But what happens is when you've got taxation without representation, this is how you get a public sector of employees that are literally pushed us out. We don't have representation in public office. Why is that problematic, family? Because this is an at-will state, meaning the employer or the employee can actually terminate, or you can leave. You can be terminated, or you can leave your workplace without any reason. That's what they're able to do. This is what's happening out here. So therefore, what they're doing is they're filling all of these positions, just like they're doing at government at every branch. As blacks are leaving, they're filling these positions with immigrants. They're filling them with immigrants in every branch of government, as well as in the workplace. And the only place where blacks have been able, freedmen in particular, to have job security has been in the public sector. One of my sister friends who's planning to come to us when she's got her nerves gathered is going to talk about how at the state level where she works, they will not promote her. They're bringing in all kinds of Indians on H-1B visas, and those are her new taskmasters. We know the Brahmin caste in India, and we know the Dalia. And Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. already told us that if we were in India, we are to the U.S. what the Dalia people are to the East Indian Brahmin caste. There's a caste system over there that they're bringing over here. We are literally in an apartheid kind of era, especially post-COVID. And this is what's happening. When you put them in place, what they're doing is we have no social capital at these hiring tables. This is what happens when you stay home and you choose to withhold your vote. You won't get off the pot. You won't weaponize your vote. You get to have a whole state of representation that don't look like you, and even when they do, they don't represent you. They'll do all manner of things to pacify and patronize you while starving you out economically. And then you'll get a leaked tape like the one we just heard. You'll get a leaked tape because it's all a political agenda. Now Joe Crow has flown out here because it becomes urgent and pressing, right? For them to step down per the president. This is a $207,000 a year position. So he decides to fly out here because why? We're a month from midterms. He won't end qualified immunity. He won't give us equal protections under the law. He won't enforce our 14th Amendment rights. He'll do none of that. But he'll participate in political theater and fly out of here. I was told, like with 50 folks with him, you're going to use taxpayer dollars to come out here and force these Hispanics to resign from the LA City Council. Albeit they should step down, but we literally cannot fire them. Here I am blasting Gavin Newsom to fire them because they wouldn't step down. And I just learned you can't fire them because they've been voted into office. The most you can do is censure them, okay? That's what the anchor was talking about. So let's get into a little bit more. Let me show you a little bit more into the peek into your future. So what happened next is she actually stepped down finally. She resigned. Let's talk about it. So this article is from New York Times. I'm reading from the New York Times today. LA City Councilwoman resigns amid uproar over racist remarks. Mind you, there's no uproar like this over the homeless, where we occupy about over 50%. There's no uproar over the fact that we have 11% unemployment rates down here. There's no uproar over the underemployment and how these immigrants and how Newsom is giving them the farm. I'm going to get into that article next. They're giving away everything to these illegals, giving undocumented workers the right to work, have all but gotten rid of and thrown out E-Verify. No uproar over the things that really matter. There's no uproar that the Latinos have about a 10% lead over us in home ownership. We're on the bottom in that respect. Can't afford housing out here. But everybody's getting their pennies in a bunch over the racist remarks. With no enforcement of our protections, no reparations, no nothing. But this is what they choose to, come to the rescue of. Racist remarks. It's a grift, family, because they want you to be impressed that Biden flew out here with 50 of his people to get you sheepwalking to these polls. They know their numbers are in trouble. They see us cutting up in the Twitter space, on Facebook, ScrewTube. They know that we are teaching weaponizing this vote. And for very good reasons, because their goal is to erase and replace us. Let's get into it. So the LA City Councilwoman resigns amid the uproar over racist remark. The former council president, Nuri Martinez, faced calls from state leaders and President Biden to leave office after making racist remark on a recording that emerged on Sunday. This wouldn't be going on if it hadn't been leaked. Who leaked it? That's what you need to be asking yourself. When it was time for Reginald Jones Sawyer, who got that bill passed by every Democrat down here in the state voted to extend our proposals through 24 and to give him the right to unseat whomever he chose. And if it wasn't for the collective contemporary reparations grassroots movement who got involved to enable Governor Newsom to be the hero to save the day with a veto, you got to wonder, is this stuff being staged? Is this political theater to get us sheepwalking to the polls because now all of a sudden they become our heroes because by appearances they give a damn? Don't fall for these grifts, family. Lean in. The former president, she resigned from elective office today amid national outrage over racist remarks in a leaked recording, hours after the state attorney general announced an investigation into the redistricting process during which the comments were made. So, Democrats love to point fingers at the Republican clans, but these Latinos were also planning to redistrict in their favor. That's what they're doing. This is what our people continue to show up to the polls and vote for, or not show up to the polls and not exercise or weaponize their votes to defeat. And so they get in here and the same fingers that they're pointing at the GOP need to be pointed right back at these people because they're doing the same thing, redistricting to give themselves an advantage. The decision by the former council leader, Nuri Martinez, who had risen to one of the most powerful posts in the nation's second largest city, came 3 days after a year-old audio recording surfaced of her disparaging colleagues, constituencies, and even the child of a fellow council member while discussing ways to change political boundaries to benefit Latino representatives. $207,000 a year. And this was conveniently leaked a whole year later. Who leaked it? And why? These are the questions we got to start asking. Caught on tape with her were 2 other council members, Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon, as well as Ron Herrera, president of the LA County Federation of Labor. You see, this is what I'm talking about. When they run things like the LA County Federation of Labor, need for blacks here for employment. Do the math. You don't have the complexion for hire. You're not going to get that job. Period. I don't care how qualified you are. Okay? The men, all well-known members of the Latino political establishment in California, did not confront Ms. Martinez and at times kept the conversation going with derogatory comments of their own, according to the recording obtained by the New York Times. Politicians all the way up to President Biden called for the 3 council members, all Democrats, to resign immediately. Mr. Herrera stepped down on Monday, and Ms. Martinez initially relinquished her council leadership post. She then announced that she was emotionally exhausted and taking a leave of absence from the council. Oh, you poor dear. You got all the energy to come for the life of a 2-year-old. You got all the energy to call him monkeys in Spanish and all this carrying on. But now you're just too replete of energy and you must go take a rest. Not step down completely. Just step down as the president and hold on to your $207,000 a year position that Los Angelinos voted you into. Back to the text. But the fallout continued to roil LA politics and prevented the 15-member council from conducting city business. For a second day, protesters packed the council chamber on Wednesday, that's today, and chanted repeatedly, demanding that the council members resign as a condition for ending the disruption. So far, Mr. Cedillo and Mr. De Leon have apologized but have not resigned. And we can't make them resign. They can't be fired. They can only be censured. Okay? So they're holding on to their $207,000 a year jobs. The racists they are. On the leaked recording of the October 2021 conversation, Ms. Martinez made racist remarks about the black child of a white council colleague, questioned the trustworthiness of white liberals, and belittled indigenous immigrants in the city's Koreatown neighborhood. In an emotional statement on Wednesday, that's why you see people of all walks of life out there marching and protesting on that video I showed you. They're out there doing all that. They're from all walks of life because she offended everybody just about. But us, the little 2-year-old baby got it the worst. My only goal as council president has been to champion a family's first agenda that we can all be proud of, she said. Oh, really? Adding, while I leave with a heavy heart, know that I wish you all the best and I have faith in your strength to unite this city. Ms. Martinez, who was the city's first Latina president of the council, added a note, Latina girls across the city, I hope I've inspired you to dream beyond that. You, when you don't weaponize your vote. Back to the text. Ms. Martinez's replacement could be chosen by a vote of the other members of the council. The council could also call a special election according to the city's clerk's office, considering that she is leaving with 2 years left in her term. Well, she's out now. That cost her about $414,000. Hold on, family. Somebody's trying to come up. Add speakers request to speak. Oh, thank you. I see you, son. Okay, I'm about to land in a moment. I hope to, and then I want y'all to take this conversation over. In the meeting, which was secretly recorded, the 3 council members and Mr. Herrera spoke about strategies for ensuring that council districts would be redrawn so that Latino leaders would have key blocks of voters within their districts, as well as assets like airports that can enhance an office holder's political influence and fundraising ability. Let me help you with something. This didn't stop just because she stepped down. That's how they like to give you the false illusion that just because these 4 racists stepped down, that there ain't more racists in office out here in the state. And this is what happens when you're politically lazy and choose not to weaponize your vote, but you want to withhold it so you don't have no blood on your hands. Well, let me explain something to you. The Democrats have already declared war on American freedmen, in case you haven't noticed. We're losing all over the country. Housing, employment, and in education. How much more longer can we survive it this way? Trust and believe. We're already at war. So for you to sit up here and think, oh, I'm going to fight on behalf of freedmen, but not get my hands bloody, that's never going to happen. You can't sit up and hope that certain said people that are running across the country, caping for immigrants, even freedmen caping for immigrants, you can't sit up here and hope that they don't win. When you've got immigrants very invested in the Democrats to win, I'm going to show that next. Back to the text. I'm almost done. The council members and Mr. Herrera complained about a lack of political representation for Latinos and considered ways to carve up districts historically represented by who? Black council members. Yes, these Democrats are doing exactly what they always are pointing to the GOP for doing. Gerrymandering. Quote, my goal is to get the three of you elected, and I'm just focused on that. Mr. Herrera can be heard saying at one point, we're like a little Latino caucus of our own. Told you, gangs everywhere out here, especially in the police departments. The California state government uses an independent commission to determine its political boundaries, but the LA City Council relies on such a panel only to make recommendations that can decide its own district lines. Look at how much power these people have. When you don't turn out the vote, when you don't run for office. Ron Bonta, the state attorney general and a Democrat, said in an interview on Wednesday that his office would look into potential violations of the Federal Voting Rights Act, as well as of the state's open meetings law and a 2019 act that established transparency guidelines for local redistricting. It was not immediately clear whether the targets of the investigation would be limited to the public officials heard in the leaked audio. Let me read that again. It was not immediately clear whether the targets of the investigation would be limited to the public officials heard in the leaked audio. One of the things we're looking at is whether districts created consistent with laws around communities of interest in voter dilution, Mr. Bonta said. We need to look at that, but we're not there yet on the idea of redoing elections or redistricting. They get to sit up here and cheat. Okay? But we're not there yet on the idea of redoing elections or redistricting. Wow. The state's scrutiny came as the council struggled to conduct business in the face of citywide political furor. When members met on Tuesday for the first time since the audio surfaced, crowds of outraged residents packed into City Hall. No resignation, no meeting, they chanted, waving signs and pounding on the back of the wooden benches. When the council tried again to convene on Wednesday, Mitch O'Farrell, a council member who is acting as president of the body in Mrs. Martinez's absence, tried to restore order in the soaring hall, lined by colorful towels and ornate columns. Later, he added that none of the three council members under fire, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Cedillo, or Mr. De Leon, were present. After a little more than an hour of intense protest, the meeting was adjourned without any official actions or discussion. The council had been set to discuss a proposal to ask voters to change the city charter so the city council would no longer be in charge of its own redistricting. A measure put forth this week by Nithya Raman, a council member who was mentioned on the recording as not an ally of the three. And when you're not an ally, you're with the blacks. That's what this trick set up here and said. They believe they're above the law. Back to the text. After the recorded meeting took place, Ms. Raman's district was significantly redrawn to be less favorable to her reelection. Last year, after the redistricting process, California Common Cause, a group that advocates for open government and members of the city panel that makes redistricting recommendations to the city council, similarly recommended that the redistricting commission be replaced with a fully independent body, charging that the current system had led to extreme political interference in the map making. This has already been done, y'all. That's how they got in. I'm glad to hear that an investigation is being launched, Ms. Raman said in a statement after Mr. Bonta announced his investigation. As a representative of the district that was most changed by this redistricting process, my priority right now is to reform the system to ensure this never happens again. The 80-minute recording, which was first reported by the LA Times on Sunday, includes audio of Ms. Martinez mocking the black child of a white councilman, Mike Bonin, in racist terms. The audio also included ugly remarks describing recent migrants from the Mexican state of Oaxaca, among other disparaging comments. Condemnation from elected officials, advocacy groups, and others was swift and fierce. Mr. Bonin gave a tearful speech on Tuesday describing the emotional toll the ordeal had taken on his family and told the 3 colleagues that they must resign in order for the city to move forward. Nearly 80 speakers lined up to demand that the council members step down, including many who said that all of the council's decisions should be reevaluated in light of the racism, particularly on the redistricting process. Excuse me, I smell a lawsuit here. We got to figure this out. And this is the time for us to keep the pressure on, family. Don't get comfortable just because she stepped down. We got 1 to 2 more people to get out of here. And we have got to figure out a way to keep the pressure on until we get equality in everything. Not just your anti-Freedmen racist sentiment. Because the real fight is in jobs, housing, education. That's where the real fight is. And this is very, very symbolic of what's going on down here. And I'm telling you, it's coming to you. And I'm sounding the alarm as hard as I can on the heels of Dr. Claude Anderson, who's been saying this for 40 plus years. This is serious. You don't have the luxury of withholding your vote and being politically lazy and not having strategy. Back to the text. The Reverend Shane Harris, president of the People's Association of Justice Advocates, a civil rights organization based in San Diego, called on Tuesday for the state to investigate. We are not only concerned about the racist remarks, he said in a statement, but we are even more concerned with the context of the call and whether civil rights have been violated in this meeting. So I want to share with you, let me close this out. Let me share with you. Let me go to my next thing. Hold on, y'all. I got to get to my article. Did any of my speakers want to jump in while I queue up my next article? Hassan Queen B? If not, I'll keep going. So like I mentioned, oh, go ahead. Did somebody open their mic?
I did open my mic. I just wanted to also highlight that we should start looking at really focusing on our civil servants' positions and making sure that undocumented immigrants are not taking those positions. We have to start shoring up the government when it comes to our civil services that are handed out to our community because they stand directly in the way of us accessing it. And so, it's just another one of those things that we have to think about. We have to really explore how us withholding our vote really does affect us and is rendering us completely and utterly powerless in 2024. If we withhold our vote, we are basically handing over the power to the Hispanic Latino community. We knew that before Biden was put into office. We knew that if he took office, that they were going to try to replace us. Now that it has happened, Biden has lived up to all of our anxieties and our fears that he was going to actually do it. He has now shown us that he is doing it. Not going to, but that he is doing it. And at this point, us thinking that we are empowering ourselves by saying, I'm just not going to vote, simply says you are casting your vote in behalf of our displacement and rendering us completely powerless when it comes to anything in the country that our ancestors built. So we have to really understand that this is serious. If they get an additional 2 years because we withheld our vote, we can only look at each other and blame one another. We have to stop doing what we've always done, expecting a different result. We have to own up to there is the biggest imminent threat for the American freedmen community right now is immigration, legal and illegal. We need to press that issue, and we are used to suffering. We really need to accept suffering for 2 more years to turn this place red in certain areas so that we can secure locking these borders is what we must do. Sacrifices must be made in order for us to be able to regain our power. Like Dr. Claude Anderson said, we can't fight all these people. We can't fight the Black immigrant and the Hispanics and the Asians, and we just don't have enough in our arsenal to fight them all. So let's allow the frustration from the oppression of these rural whites, these poor whites, and now just the middle class whites are being displaced when it comes to employment. Doctors and attorneys and IT specialists, they are now feeling these effects. Let's leverage that power, family. Let's leverage it, and let's get these people gone. Then we can go back to fighting our reparations fight and everything else. But we have got to make the right decision this time. Now, man.
Thank you so much for blessing the mic, son. Always bringing the fire and the TR Ruth. Thank you so much. Listen, fam, I got on my screen right now. Now, some of y'all keep spreading this lie that the Latinas are by and large voting for the GOP. Well, if you were receiving American freedmen reparations and protections and all of our jobs and pushing us out of management and pushing out of positions where we can hire our own so that you can hire your own in the public and the private sectors, wouldn't you too change your mind about LGBTQ, about abortion, things that used to align them with the GOP? But I've been sharing in the past couple of broadcasts that they are trending towards the Democrats because the Democrats are giving them everything. The Democrats are fully invested in making them American and making us a permanent bottom caste to our own people's peril. So here we go. Let's go over the numbers. Since y'all don't believe fat meat is greasy till you see it frying. Here we've got a Pew Research, Politics 2021, Biden's behind. What happened behind Biden's 2020 victory? I'm going to try to blow it up. Well, if I do that, then I can't see nothing. Hold on, y'all. I got to bring it. That's about as big as I can get it. So here we have the gender gap narrowed among white voters. We're looking at the percentage of validated voters who reported voting for each candidate. Now, I'm going to deal with these numbers from 2016. You've got the share voting for Clinton and the share voting for Trump in the first two columns. Then you've got the margins, okay? Dem versus Republican on the third column. So, in 2016, 48% of the vote went to Clinton, 46% went to Trump. There was a 2% margin in favor of the Democrats in 2016. The men, 41% to 52% voted for Clinton versus Trump. The women, 54% to 39%, Clinton, Trump. So where the men are concerned, the red had an 11% advantage over the blue. Where the women are concerned, the blue had a 15% advantage over the red. Now, let's go to white, non-Hispanic. 39% voted for Clinton. 54% of white, non-Hispanic voted for Trump, and that was a 15% advantage to the red. As for black, non-Hispanic, in 2016, 91% voted for Clinton. 6% voted for Trump. We gave these Mickey Fickies who are doing everything for immigrants and to line their own pockets an 85% advantage over the red. When it comes to Hispanic, that y'all keep telling me is voting by and large for the GOP. Because you don't Google nothing. You just talking out the side of your freaking neck and sitting up here thinking you can withhold your vote and let somebody else deliver the freedmen, which they have no intention on doing. Let's hope the Democrats fail, because I refuse to vote for this one, even though he's for closing the borders, because he's anti-freedman, even though he's freedman. I'm hearing a lot of this emotionalism that I heard when Trump was running for office. How the corporate mainstream media had everybody scared of a Trump boogeyman, an overt racist in office of 4 years with no record against American freedmen. Y'all thought it was a novel idea to replace him with racist plural in office a combined 60 plus years with records against American freedmen, several New York City blocks long. But y'all think you got the luxury to lay in the cut. Well, let me tell you what Hispanics turned out in 2016 all the way through 2020. Oh, we doing these numbers. The Hispanic was 66% turned out for Clinton. 28% turned out for Trump. Is it no wonder the Democrats have gone Hispanic instead of seeing to it that we get an end to qualified immunity and our reparations and enforced protections? They're giving it away to the immigrants. Asians don't have no numbers on here. So, white men, 32% of the white men voted for Clinton, 62% voted for Trump. That's a 30% advantage for the red. White women, 45% voted for Clinton and 47% voted for Trump. That was a 2% advantage for Trump. Okay? Let's move to 2018. I'm going to go straight to the black and the Hispanic votes that y'all keep telling me. This was in 2018. Okay, I think this is the midterms. Okay. 50% of the men voted Democrat and 48% voted Republican. That was a 2% margin for the blue. Women, 58% voted Democrat, 40% voted Republican. That was an 18 percentage point for the blue. White non-Hispanic, 46% for the Democrats, 52% for the Republicans. That was a 6% advantage for the Republicans. Black non-Hispanic, 92% for the Democrats, 6% for the Republicans, 86%. That was us. Hispanic, 72% for the Democrats, 25% for the Republicans. Hello to everybody out there that keeps telling me that the Hispanic are voting more so for the GOP. It's right here in the numbers I'm repeating to you right now. 72-25 with a 47% advantage to the blue. And this time Asians got in on the act. 73% for the Democrats, 26% for the Republicans. That was a 47% advantage commensurate with that of the Hispanics. 2020. Let's jump right to the white non-Hispanic. 43% for Biden, Joe Crow, 55% for Trump. That was a 12% advantage for the Reds. Black non-Hispanic, 92% for Biden, 8% for Trump. That was an 84% advantage for the Democrats. Hispanic, 59% for Biden, 38% for Trump, a 21% advantage for the Democrats. Asians, 72% to Trump's 28% for a 44% advantage for the Democrats. So is it no wonder why Joe Crow rewarded the Asians with our reparations and protections? Is it no wonder why Joe Crow is flooding the country with illegals and giving all type of special position in the public sector, which is why we've been pushed out by and large. Because we consistently have delivered these demo rats. 85% in 2016, 86% in 2018, 84% in 2020. And we are in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming bottom caste. And the other groups, 66%, 72 and 59% Hispanic. And that's why Joe Crow is working so hard to give them everything. That's why you can't get so invested in the fact that Joe Crow flew his ass out here to tell Martinez and the others to step down. It's a nothing burger, just like the marijuana, just like the Juneteenth, just like the hip-hop holiday. Let me stop sharing that and go on to the next. But y'all want to sit home and not weaponize the vote. So we've got the highest rates of incarceration. In California, Black people constitute 6% of state residents, but 20% of the people in jail and 28% of the people in prison. Next. 6.5% of Californians identify as Black or African American, but account for nearly 40% of the state's homeless individuals. Next. State unemployment rates by race and ethnicity in overall 2022 quarter one, California right now from something I read. Next. The California Black Census and Redistricting Hub is a network of over 30 Black-led and Black-serving orgs across the state focused on maximizing participation in the upcoming census and redistricting process among hard-to-count Black communities. This is a mess, y'all. We are losing voting blue no matter damn who. Let me just jump to the meat and potatoes. Recent surveys have found that African Americans and Black immigrants are among the highest groups at risk of a full and accurate count in California. California has the fifth largest Black population in the U.S. with 3,011,021 African Americans making up 8% of the state total. Excuse me, it's not that anymore. We're around 6%, around 2.6 million, and about 2,600,000, and about 600,000 are Black immigrants. So we're really about 2 million. Okay? Gentrification has sparked waves of displacement and homelessness across California, disproportionately impacting Black communities, pushing many into the streets or out of urban centers like Oakland and LA and into new regions like East Contra Costa, Inland Empire, and Central Valley, which often lack civic infrastructure and resources to support a full census count. Mass incarceration in Black communities has led to drastic overrepresentation of African Americans in California's prison population, 29% compared to being only 6.5% of California's total population. This not only makes group counts necessary, but also makes the engagement and education of newly returning community members key, who are more vulnerable to economic and housing and instability and a general lack of information about the census. Excuse me, is this what Joe Crow has come to California to do? But Black folks will think he gives a damn and turn out to the polls or withhold their votes, while we get erased and replaced. That is not a political strategy. These factors, combined with a growing distrust in government and limited access to the internet, particularly among seniors, require tailored outreach strategies to ensure a full count of Black Californians in the 2020 census. Child, please. This is a mess. Okay, next. I'm just going through my talking points to share with you what. Okay. Like I mentioned, my sister friend who works for the state, she will be here to talk about what's happening in these state positions. She is one of a very, very few Blacks, and her department has been overwrought with Indians of Kamala's ilk who treat her like a modern day slave. I've got another sister friend who's working for a predominantly white and Hispanic company. Her very white master has her desk in the office with him to clock and watch everything she does. Another friend of mine, she was working 20 years for an insurance company, had amassed a $200,000 a year income. They demoted her and put a white gay male in that position. All this is happening in California, as we've gone from 17 to around 3%, honestly. When I looked up the numbers, okay, so she got replaced by a white LGBTQ. This is how they give affirmative action to them. And she was told to come on as an independent contractor for a paltry salary, far reduced from what she was earning. And now she works on the defense side of what I do. And she answers to a white girl who doesn't have the law degree she's got, the master's she's got, the experience she's got, and who's half her age. This is what's coming to you if you do not weaponize your vote. So they're taking it over in the most protected area of the workforce out here in the state. It's being overwrought with immigrants. They're in control of hiring and firing. And they simply are overlooking Blacks, especially American freedmen Blacks. These Black immigrants are more gainfully employed out here than American freedmen Black. And they've come up with clever ways, too, to eliminate you. You've got county positions who want you to put your interview on a reel and send it in to them first. That, to me, is a way for them to weed you out and not give you a second call. Another sister friend of mine went into one of these state interviews. Nothing but Mexicans on the floor. She didn't get the job. Very qualified. Next, getting back to work has been slower in California's Black community. This is April 19, 22, Spectrum News 1. I'm reading from the business section. I'm just going to jump down. UCLA, the California Black unemployment rate was 5.3% in February 2020. Now it's 11%. Did you hear the words that's coming out of my mouth? Go ahead, Hassan. Bless the mic, love. Oh, my God.
So I just wanted to share something with your audience because I keep seeing this over and over again where people are saying, I guess they're thinking in lieu of not voting, go to the polls and write in a candidate. I wanted to share information with the audience so they can understand how reckless that is as well.
Thank you.
I pulled this directly from Balapedia. I'm sorry. It says, as of 2020, most states allow voters to write in candidates. But out of these states, 8 states do not have any requirements and would allow voters to write in any name as a write-in. Only 8 states. 33 states would only accept votes for write-in candidates who officially registered with the state. Okay, and then it lists those 9 states who don't accept write-ins at all, which is Arkansas, Hawaii, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nevada, New Mexico, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and South Dakota. And so when I keep seeing people write and like put in the chat, and I hear people constantly saying in different spaces, oh, you know what, just go there and just write in your candidate. What you don't understand is if you don't know your state election laws, you could be invalidating your entire ballot.
Thank you.
So the idea is not to keep preaching the same old strategy that we have already found that is ineffective and is more detrimental to us. The idea is for us to recognize that we have to use the power of our vote to kill illegal and legal immigration right now, because that's our biggest threat. And the way we do that is simply looking for closed border candidates. Period. There isn't any way around it. I don't know why we continue to try to find other ways to tap dance around this main topic, which is we need these borders closed.
Period.
And understanding that we are at the bottom of this totem pole, and we are the ones still tap dancing around trying to figure out, well, how can I do it without voting red? We got white people who have money, who are now experiencing minor issues as a result of the mass immigration that's taking place. And they are smart enough to say, we've got to close these borders. And they are not in any way, shape, or form disproportionately affected negatively the way we are. But they're not tap dancing, trying to figure out, oh, well, let's do it this way, or let's do it that way. Well, you know what? If it doesn't have reparations on it, I'm just not going to vote for them. No, they recognize their imminent threat and they are active. They are not reactive, they are proactive. They're not out here spewing out messages like, oh, well, let's just write in a candidate, not knowing how that affects your entire ballot, not knowing what their state laws are. I'm just asking our audience to please educate yourself. Stop putting in the chats, stop putting it out in this social media space. Oh, just go and write in a candidate. You could be invalidating your entire ballot and everyone who listens to you. Please educate yourself and understand, if you are really about fighting for the American freedmen, close the freaking borders. Go stop tap dancing around it and go to these ballots and close these borders. End the discussion. I land.
Sis, don't land yet. I need you to speak on some of these people telling me that they're going to write reparations on those candidate lines and over voting for closed border candidates. Could you speak on that and how that too can invalidate your ballot? Reparations ain't on the damn ballot.
Again, if you know your state election rules, then you will know what you can and cannot do. Again, we have to stop perpetuating ignorance. We have to stop co-signing to what we hear people saying rather than us doing our due diligence to educate ourselves. We owe it to our future generations and we owe it to our ancestors who fought and died for us to exercise our right to vote. We need to understand that you cannot just write in anything you want on a ballot. On some ballots, you cannot write in anything, period. But we're not educating our people. We're just out here spewing out noise, talking about, oh, let's just write it in. Oh, let's just write this in. Let's just write that in. Let's write cat, dog, and blue and green.
Mickey Mouse and all this kind of nonsense.
We have to stop it. All that does is tell them how politically immature we still are. I refuse to stay politically immature when I'm sitting here witnessing in my lifetime how we are completely being annihilated and people are so disrespectful to us because they see us as still continuing to be politically immature. This is not about any particular ethnic group. This is about American freedmen's pure survival. Please stop playing with your ballot. Stop playing with your vote. Stop listening to historians and listen to political strategists who do this. Okay, because historians have their place when it comes to our political fight. We need to know our history, to know where we've come from, to know where we're trying to go. But we don't need historians telling us to lay our vote down and not come, because they're not political strategists. Okay, we need to understand that we need to close the borders. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no, well, you know what, if I go there and the candidate doesn't have a Black agenda specifically for us, I'm not going to vote for them. You know what? You have a problem, because you'll never get a Black agenda if we allow the Hispanics to take control of our entire power when it comes to our vote. Let's stop it. We must stop, family. We must say to ourselves, if we don't stop these people from taking the power from us that the Democrats are willing to hand us over, completely baked. We are completely fried because of the Democrats. And it's not about it being a party. It's about their complete strategy to annihilate us.
Period.
We cannot write in Mickey Mouse. We can't write in reparations. We can't go to these polls talking about if they don't have reparations, they don't have a Black agenda, if they don't have this, they don't have that, I'm not voting. No. Push the button for anyone who says close these freaking borders. Prepare yourself for the next 2 years that we're going to be in what we're already in, an oppressive society under an oppressive government. We are used to it. But if we've been fighting our oppressive society and our oppressive government all these years, we can do it for 2 more years. But to have another 22 million new oppressors on us, that's a heck of a fight with all the other groups that are already here. And then these people are one of the most disrespectful when it comes to us. Like, they're not even trying to integrate into our citizenship here. They're demanding that we learn their language, that we learn their lineage, that we engage in what they want us to engage in. And we're continuing to go to these polls and say yet again, I'm not going to vote, or I'm going to write in something. No, close the borders. I beg everyone that's listening, close the borders. That's all that we can push until the midterms are over. We must close the borders. We need to send a message to the Democrats and to all of these overconfident immigrants that are illegal. These people have broken the law, come here. They have been rewarded while American freedmen are incarcerated. They have they have dropped their children over the gate, right? And then sued the United States and said that it was us who separated them. Now, our children have always been separated. No one pays us any attention.
Come on.
And yet, here we go talking again. Oh, my vote, this is how I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it like this. I'm just going to write in something. No, you're not. You're going to close these borders if you really love American freedmen, if you love your ancestors and you love your future generations that we may not ever see. Stop playing with us and close the borders, please. That's all we can tell you, is to close these borders. Hold the United States government accountable. We were the ones that were supposed to have federal job guarantees. How do they get federal jobs more than we do now?
Come on.
Now they're denying us our access to the benefits that our tax dollars pay. How does that happen? You know how that happens? Because American freedmen are talking about withholding their vote or going to the polls and writing some dumb mess on their ballots instead of closing the borders.
Come on.
That's how it happens. Family, please stop.
Please stop.
Please stop it. Wake up. Know that your future matters. We must close these borders at all costs. Your future, your ancestors fought. They died. We built this sucker. We fought to have our vote as a power block, not as just some vote that has nothing behind it. If you don't close the borders, then you have failed your future generations, your current generations, and your past generation. Carry that when you lay your head down and go to sleep, that you failed us yet again because we did the get along thing. I'm just going to follow what the rest of the people say. Stop it. Close the borders, please.
Sis, you just blessed the mic. I can't let you go. Could you please? I've been trying to teach them about when our ancestors weren't getting what they needed from the repugnant clans. They shifted to the Democrats in order to get civil rights. Can you bless us with a few words about that? Because maybe they don't hear me. Maybe they can hear it coming from you.
I mean, I don't know what else we can say to it. In one of our most weakest, uneducated moments in our history here on this soil, our ancestors understood it was when it was time to pivot. They understood the risk. They understood the future struggle that we would go through, but they manned up, they womaned up, they balled up, they did whatever you want to say, and they pivoted because they looked forward to the change that would come. They knew it wasn't going to be instant. They knew it was going to be years later, but that did not deter them from seeing the future, seeing what their future generations needed to have, and then going for it. They didn't fall in line. They didn't continue to perpetuate the ignorance of where they came from and what they used to do versus what they needed to do moving forward. They pivoted. And that is the same thing that is now happening to us. We have a responsibility to stand on all the education, all the power, all the authority, all of what the internet has blessed us with. First of all, the internet has blessed us to come together yet again as a family when this country decided they were going to break us all up, change our names, change our language, sell our kids. And then one day, the internet was born. And the internet has first given us the blessing of finding ourselves again, finding our tribe, knowing who we were. And now that we found one another, I'll be damned if I'm going to let any one of us go.
Period.
So that means I'm going to tell everyone, your ancestors in their most ignorant state, in their most righteous and poorest state, they were released into freedom with nothing in a dead of cold. And they still knew that the party they had been rocking with wasn't no good. And they pivoted, knowing that it was going to bring forth years of hardship. But they did it. They had that much faith, that much strength, and that much courage. And now they are calling on us to do the same, to stop trying to dance and tiptoe around what we know we need to do, knowing it's going to be hard the next 2 years, maybe the next 6 years or 8 years, but the pie at the end will be fuller. We will no longer be taking in crumbs. We will be accessing, even if it's 1/3, or 1/2, or a quarter, but we will have more than what we have now as we press forward with letting them know we are not afraid to pivot. We are not afraid to take the chance to go through a harder struggle. We are our ancestors. We stand on their shoulders and in their shoes, and that is something that you can never take from us. But if we're going to represent them, then we need to represent them properly. And that is, stop playing with your vote. Stop rendering yourself powerless based on ignorance or fear or both. Close the borders. Give us a chance, like Dr. Claude Anderson said almost 40 years ago now. He warned us of this. We didn't heed the warning. And now it's here.
It's here.
Now it's here. And it's now time for us to say, okay, we missed that warning, but damn if we're going to miss it this round. We're here now, we're educated, we respect, we love, and we will always lift up our historians, but our historians are not our political strategists. They are our historians. We need to know the difference between the two, and we need to be able to pivot when that call goes forth to pivot. And I land.
I got more questions, Hassan, please. Stay with me, sis. I need you. I need you to help my viewers understand how reparations will never come until we bring the Democrats to their knees for several election cycles. Could you speak about the importance of us weaponizing our vote for longer than just the midterm? How this is something, a strategy we have to invoke for several election cycles, and why we must?
Yeah, I mean, the writing is on the wall. I don't know that we need to go over it. I believe in my heart and in my soul that the freedmen are insightful, they are educated, and they want a better life. We don't have to spoon feed our people for them to understand. This is not going to be a one cycle election that we do this. These people must be broken. We must break their ankles, their knees, their hips, their backs, their arms. And every time they begin to heal, we must break them again. And we must continue to stand on that square until they can no longer rise without us, until they make us whole. And they will never make us whole as far as the total loss. We understand that. But they are damn sure going to atone for it. And we are not letting up off of them at all. We're not going to talk about letting up off their neck. We intend to break every bone in your body, in your political body, until you are the one asking us to get up off of your neck. And then we're going to look at each other and high five and say, you sure we want to do that right now? Nah, let's wait till he gets to his last breath. And then we'll pull our foot off so we can make him slowly watch how powerful we have become and how educated we become in this political sphere, right? That's what this means. That's what we're doing. And that's why it's going to take more than one cycle. Be prepared. We keep talking about that we're warriors and we're fighters and we don't let nobody come for us. We do that. We're all at within our community. It's time to go beyond our community. It's time to go into this political sphere as real warriors, as real fighters, as real conquerors, coming there fearless. Fearless. Find the courage within yourself from the bottom of the sole of your feet and become fearless. Don't talk about being fearless. And then when you're in front of somebody, you forget that you were fearless and you go back to being fearful. We don't need that.
Period.
We need you to understand. We need you to understand. It's going to take multiple cycles of us doing this. We must break every bone, starting from the ankles, starting from the toenails, all the way up to the scalp. Until we break them, until they understand, never again will you get to stand on any one of these American freemen and we allow it to happen. Those days are gone for real. We just need everyone else to get on that same page with us.
And can you speak to the fact that some of my viewers are telling me silly things like they're going to withhold their vote in hope, say for example that Raphael Warnock loses, because they refuse to vote for Herschel Walker, even though he's foreclosing the borders, because I'm hearing a lot of stupidity like he's anti-freedmen. I'm hearing stupidity like what else am I hearing? He basically he's anti-freedmen and I refuse to give him the vote. No, I won't vote for Warnock. I'm just going to cross my fingers and toes and hope that that is sufficient. They're also saying things like, well, why don't you come down on the Republicans the way you do the Democrats? They're saying stupid things like, why aren't you asking the Republicans? The Republicans don't support reparations. Why aren't you coming for them? And they don't support reparations. Can you talk about all of this emotionalism I'm hearing from grown-ass men up in my spaces, challenging me and taunting me that I'm actually suggesting that the ATL vote for Herschel Walker and not just leave it to chance? Can you give us some of your beautiful fire on that note? about the emotionalism that I'm seeing from grown-ass men in the movement, acting out of emotion and not the sensibility to neutralize our most imminent threat and replacement, immigration. Can you speak on that a little bit? Bless the mic.
So you just ask yourself yet again, if we withhold our vote from the Republicans in Georgia and we withhold it from the Democrats, then we've already saw tonight from what you've shown, 66% of the Hispanic population voted democratically. So how do you believe that you are dismantling anything when it comes to the freedmen by withholding it? The simple answer again is we've already discussed it, which is we have to be fearless. We understand that Herschel Walker is not our friend, but ain't nobody here trying to be friends. We're here trying to get what we need to get, right? So if we're here trying to get what we need to get, we recognize who Herschel Walker is. We know he's the same idiot that testified against us in the HR 40 hearings. We've seen his stupid commercials. We understand all that. But the one thing that supersedes all of that is that he wants to close the borders and reduce the numbers of illegal immigrants in Georgia, which was supposed to be the Mecca for us, that is quickly becoming the Mecca for them.
Yep.
Yet again, our displacement, yet again, us not coming up with a real political strategy. Every other ethnic group has the ability to see beyond the obvious, except for our group. We look for just the black and the white. We don't look through it and say, okay, how, if I weigh both the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate, what is my percentage of getting more of what I need from this, let's say, Republican candidate versus the Democratic candidate? Or will I benefit more if I go with the Democratic candidate versus the Republican? No, we just look at, oh, you know, he said this, he said that. But at the end of the day, have we broken it down, evaluated both of them, and then said, what can I deal with, right? If we put this Herschel Walker in office, how much would I benefit? Would it be 1% or 2% of a change in my life? Or would it be 20 or 30%? Well, will the mass population of American freedmen in Georgia be restored to the lower labor jobs that they're now competing with, right? Will their banks be able to access more funding specifically for that group if we got rid of some of these different these immigrants that are here, right? Now, let's look at the Democratic side. Well, no, I don't want to look at them because I'm not voting for them, period. Okay, so you're not really even weighing the ups and downs. You've already dismissed the Democratic candidate. So you're only left with not voting or voting for the red. So now let's weigh, if I don't vote, what is the probability of the Democrats still winning because of my no vote?
Come on.
Have we looked at that? Have we looked at that? Have we evaluated that? Have we sat down as political strategizers and said, you know what? If I don't vote, if we withheld our vote, all of the American freedmen in Georgia, what would be the percentage of win based on the Hispanic vote, which would then solidify the Democrats' reasoning behind why they want mass immigration?
Come on.
Because we just did it for them. We just showed them, see, you don't need our vote, because when we sit down and not vote, the Hispanics are going to step up and swing that back for you. They got y'all. So yeah, you're a real brilliant person now, aren't you? No, family, stop playing again. We got to look at what's happening. Withholding our vote is never an answer. When we don't have a candidate that's specifically speaking to our issues, which no candidate right now, and within, I believe, at least the next 5 to 6 election cycles are going to be specifically speaking to our issues, right? We have to then look at this as a collective community. Okay, if none of them are going to speak specifically to our community, what is our biggest threat? Right now, for this cycle and for the last presidential election, it has always stood true that immigration was the most powerful, impactful, negative thing when it came to our community. We failed. We did not secure American freedmen's borders with that last presidential election. We failed. Accept it, eat it, own it. Now it's time for us to stop failing. Close the borders. We can deal with Herschel anytime we need to. When people say, well, how come we're holding the Democratic Party accountable, but not the Republicans? Let's just go back to, again, the data. Who do we vote for? The Republicans don't owe us anything. We haven't given them a reason to pander to us. And right now, we're still not giving them a reason to pander to us because we're sitting here saying we're not going to vote at all. So they're saying, well, what the hell? That means by default, the Democratic Party in their strategy of bringing in all of these migrants and immigrants is going to win because the blacks, quote unquote, the blacks are not going to vote. Therefore, they're going to work with the Democrats. These immigrants are going to work with the Democrats. The Democrats are going to continue to make them legal to do what? Replace our vote. Therefore, the Republicans are like, well, what the heck? If they ain't going to vote either way, we don't need to pander to them. Just leave them sitting out there as usual. That is called political ignorance. That's called lack of evolving. That's called the willingness to throw away your community. And if you're willing to do that, you are a failure. You have failed in everything that you talk about, everything that you educate. I don't care how much you know our history. You better learn our politics. History only matters if we use it to empower ourselves politically to change. That is the one thing outside of freedom that our ancestors fought for. Next to freedom, we fought to have the power of our vote, not just a vote. There is a significant difference between the two, and we best start understanding what those differences are.
Sis, you just stick around. You can mute your mic, but please stay close. I might be calling on you again because you are just bringing the fire. I think they hear me now through you. Okay? Love my folks. Over here in ScrewTube says, reparations without closed borders means the immigrants will gain power to stop our payments. We need those borders closed and the power shifted. Love my folks. Welcome to the live. You are spot on. Spot on. I share with you guys about how when Reginald Jones Sawyer, Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer, on the task force for reparations, when he lost on race-based reparations, he got busy with the bill. And he took that bill and got all the Democrats, predominantly immigrants down here in the state, to say yes to that bill. It passed with them. Now, the Republicans, one of them voted for it, 11 of them did not. So he voted to extend our reparations proposals when we are clearly out of time in every metric. And he went back and amended it, family, to include language that he gets to determine who sits on that task force. So that the 5 task force members that voted yes on lineage-based reparations, he would be able to remove them at his discretion to ultimately get what he wanted, which is race-based reparations. And he knows race-based reparations, according to Chemerinsky, you can't do anything thanks to Prop 209 by the Kuhn, Freedmen, Ward Connerly since 92 or 96, came up with Prop 209 to make race reverse racism a thing down here. That's how we got here. That's how we went from 17 to 3% of the population, thanks to freedmen sellouts like Ward Connolly. And even though Chemerinsky told him, if you've got race-based reparations, it can be challenged on the Supreme Court. And the people won't get the reparations they are owed. So to love my folks, you are absolutely right. Not only do we have to fight to get these proposals done by next year, we got a whole nother fight on our hand to get payments, because the majority of these hating anti-freedmen racists who sit on the councils, who sit everywhere in office here, are going to be the ones that we need that vote from. You understand what I'm telling you? They're going to be the ones that have to vote yes on those proposals that Newsom is going to have to ultimately sign on. And if they were willing to extend the proposals through 24 and change the task force members to look like the people who were fighting for race-based reparations, do you know our fight has just begun? You think it's hard to pry your reparations out the Democratic hands, who will play with you all day long over an HR 40 that they want to give to all blacks? You ain't seen nothing until it's time to pry it from the hands of an immigrant who's invested in making you the permanent bottom caste. They're invested in Crayola white supremacy. And tragically, you got these stupid ass people in the new black media spaces telling you that it's not reckless to withhold your vote, telling you to go out and do what we were told to do the last time. Vote Democrat down the fucking ticket. Bucking ticket, excuse me. The bucking ticket. They're telling you to vote Democrat down the ticket, which is what we're fighting right now. That's who these stupid ass people are. I'll follow one of their asses all the way to hell that I'm living right now here in California. And they're telling people the same thing. Show to the polls and vote Dem down the ticket. And they're also telling people no tangibles, no vote. Like you gonna get anything after freely giving away your vote since FDR, not demanding tangibles. How do you think we got to the bottom of this Titanic as the anchor of this country's capitalism? Either staying home and withholding the vote or voting blue no matter damn who. Okay, so let me move on. I see you, Yaira, The Rock. I would vote. The Rock said, I would vote for David Duke over these Democrats, LOL. I see you, worldviews. Yes, love my folks. We must break them. The ancestors need us to grow a backbone and some cojones, because that's all we got left is the weaponization of this vote in this election cycle. Because come 24, if we don't bring these Democrats to their knees, because I'm going to tell you who's going to show to these polls. These immigrants, the LGBTQIA, XYZ, and the white folks. They're showing to the polls while y'all sitting up talking about, not y'all, not all of us, are sitting up here talking about no tangibles, no vote. When the Republican clans don't owe you a damn thing, you ain't been their loyal lapdogs since FDR. The Democrats owe you, but you've shown them, oh, I'm just going to get in my bag and I'm not going to even participate in the charades. I'm certainly not going to vote for Herschel or any Republican clan. You got me mixed up. What the hell? You can see what immigration is doing to California, and it's already happening in the South. I've heard from folks in North Carolina seeing it happening. It's even happening in Georgia. And y'all carrying on with this blue no matter who, or let me withhold the vote as if that's going to punish them. No, see. The only thing that punishes them is to make them feel this for several election cycles. Make the bitch bleed. I don't care at this point. We are at war, and they've declared it. The Democrats, whom we've delivered every election cycle since FDR, they're the ones doing this to American freedmen exclusively. And Hassan is absolutely correct. If we don't weaponize this vote and socialize this suffering, we will remain in distress to our own peril. That's not going to happen. I got a daughter to live for. She got marriage in her future and my grandbabies and my great-grands. We are already at war. There's no way to avoid it. And the only way you weaponize, because you can't pick up no arms, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, you can't fight every damn body. You clearly can't. Look at what's happening to us. We're the only ones being executed by state sanction by these race soldiers. That ain't happening to Latinas. That ain't happening to Asians. That ain't happening to East Indian Brahmin caste, Kamala people. That's happening to American freedmen with your vote. Okay, let me move on. We must break them. We are at war. Smart Carler, please take heed to what she's saying, says Q Lane. I see you, fam. I'm just going to go. Great call, says Spanx Ward. Yes, world. Oh, yes. Yaira says, that's it. Political strategist finger. Okay. So, oh my God, write reparations on the damn ballot. Yes, you got people in this contemporary reparations grassroots movement talking about writing in reparations. Or not even showing at all, just withholding their votes. I am voting for Trump in 24 too, baby. And guess what else I'm doing? Whoever Trump is endorsing, that's who I'm voting for. Okay? And I'm not endorsing none of these people. Both parties suck. And for those of you that keep calling me repugnant Klan Trump lover, I don't give a damn what you call me. I'm so used to that shit. Y'all did that when I voted green at the top. And stupidly voted Democrat down the ticket. So you can't hurt me with your xenophobic, homophobic, you're a repugnant Klan, you're a Trump supporter. Honey, I don't give a damn. Do you hear me? I'm closing these borders. My mama taught me sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I am real clear. We are at war. And I'm weaponizing this vote, okay? So call me what you want. You called me that when I voted green. That's what I got to say to you. Karen Cedar better have several seats. Okay, let's see what Yair. The leaker definitely seemed to have positioned it right before midterms. Don't you see that, Yaira? Don't you see the tricks they're up to? These become the grifts. Joe Crow came out with that empty-headed, we gonna set federal marijuana prisoners free. They ain't got none. How many folks on the federal level in prison is in there for peddling a nickel bag of funk? But that's to get folks all in a lather, just like this dog and pony politics show, flying all the way out here with 50 people wasting tax dollars to come out here and tell these people to resign. We got this, boo-boo. We don't need you. We down there 100 strong for the past 2 days, and it don't go far enough. Because the real fight is unemployment through the roof. Since the pandemic, homelessness, underemployment, and the fact that they have it on lock. Newsom, Garcetti, all of them have done this to American freedmen, all the while grifting off of reparations like they really gonna do something. I'll believe it. Let me tell you when I'll believe it. When the checks are on deposit in my bank account. But a lot of this is, I swear, I feel like Jones Sawyer and Newsom cooked this up to get us in a lather so he can veto and be like our white knight in shining armor coming to save the damn day with a veto. I smell a rat. Even with this, it feels very staged. It feels like somebody has a personal issue with this woman, this Nuri Martinez. This set for a whole year. We a month for midterms. And Biden demands she steps down. He don't demand an end to qualified immunity. He don't demand that all these trillions of dollars he's been spending 40 going north be spent as a down payment for our reparations. He don't demand that folks be charged for anti-freedmen racist sentiment and acts against American freedmen. He don't demand that we be given homes and land. But you can come out here and demand Nuri Martinez steps down from the city council and the rest of you for your racist remarks. Reminds me of the Trump grift. Reminds me of that. Making him who did you nothing. Trump wasn't sitting up here talking about $37 billion more dollars for the race soldiers to come up in our communities to execute us with qualified immunity. Trump didn't open these borders. He had ICE working for him. You got ICE down there. It's in the archives. I can't go over it right now because I'm almost at 2 hours. You got ICE down there right now, opening up the freaking borders, and you've got the immigrants admitting that that's what they're doing. Let's look at the tape. Let's look at the tape. I'm going to bring it up. I got 5,000 things open. There's going to be another part tomorrow. I had to come back because I got so much to share. Okay, here, let's go to YouTube. Stand by, family. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Hold on. Immigrants admit the border is open. Let's just look at it. Let's memorialize it here, family. Unbelievable video shows border agents opening gate to the migrants. Oh God, let me see. Is this the one? Hold on, y'all. Let me look at it real quick. Let me scroll and see if the guy is down there talking to him. Yeah, you can clearly see it here. But there was one when they dropped them off at Kamala's house. Let's look. Hold on, y'all. See this? Oh, Lord. Okay, immigrants admit the borders open to anchor in front of Kamala's house. She's been running around here lying and saying that VP Harris says border are secure. Now migrants are outside her home. Hold on. Is that the one? Let's see this. Hold on, y'all. Okay, that's not the one. I want y'all to see the man interviewing them. And they're talking about, oh, yeah, the border's wide open. After Kabami lied and said, oh, my God. Hold on, y'all. Y'all got to see it to believe it. They were interviewing them. Where is that darn video? Hold on, y'all. I got to show it to you if I can find it. If not, I'll bring it to you tomorrow. I'm not going to look too long because I don't want to keep you guys too long. Oh, she's fuming over the arrivals. I got to find the video and bring it to y'all tomorrow because I don't want to detain you. Yeah, I'm wondering who the leaker is, but this is very convenient, and this is what these Democrats do. They want to act like they give a damn about us because they see their numbers are in the toilet and dropping fast. Waters, Bass, and Lee will soon be gone and replaced by Hispanics. Oh, yes, and yes, that's happening in real time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I did have something to show y'all concerning that. And I'm sure that some of y'all saw it in my prior videos, but I was, as part of my making a case for y'all getting out here. Oh, wait. Let me go back to that one article I was on. Okay, so here we go. Uh-oh. Okay, I want to finish reading this part because you need to understand what's coming to your state. You need to. The California Black unemployment rate was 5.3% pre-pandemic in February 2020. When who was in office? Who was in office? Trump. Our numbers here was 5.3% in February 2020. Could that be because he kept these illegals about this piece? Could that be because the illegals were afraid to cross the border because they knew ICE was going to throw their asses back over the border? Could that be because ICE was picking them up when they were getting arrested? Could that be because ICE was going door to door to pick up these Mickey Thickies and take them back over the border? Our rate here in California was 5.3%. Now, as of April 22, who knows what it is? We in October. It is 11%, which is nearly 6 percentage points higher than the state unemployment rate of 5.4%. UCLA researchers surveyed 2,000 Black workers about how the pandemic affected their jobs. They found close to 70% who lost their job or were furloughed during the pandemic have not been called back to work. 71% were concerned about COVID-19 exposure on the job. 90% of Black women surveyed had an increase in at-home and financial responsibilities. So that's what they use this pandemic to do, family, all over the country, is to wipe American freedmen completely off the monopoly board and to replace us with immigrants. And then sit up here and lie to the nation and the world that Blacks are lazy, shiftless, no good and no count, and simply don't want to work. And this number doesn't even include Blacks who have given up hope and are no longer looking. It doesn't include the millions of us that are in the private prison industrial complex. Kabami is now sitting up here saying nobody should be arrested for marijuana. And yet, when the, oh God, I think it was the governor. Wait, I can't recall who it was specifically. It won't come to my mind. But someone more senior than her in political office, was it the governor or the state secretary at the time? The prisons were overcrowded down here. Let me just go straight to the head on this. The prisons were overcrowded with nonviolent offenders that Kabami threw into jail when she was a prosecutor, the DA. And when the governor, or whoever the hell it was, you can look it up and Google it, I don't have it open, told her, listen, the jails are overcrowded. We need to let some of these nonviolent offenders out. She said, no, we cannot. Well, I need them to put out the fires in the hills where the white homes are. So she wants slave labor. And when these brothers get out of jail, they can't even get the $60,000 a year firefighter positions that they were used at $1 a day to put out these fires in the hills of these white homes. But now all of a sudden, she's mortified that folks are being arrested for marijuana. These are the games they play, and we need to shut this down. Okay, so let me see, was that all I wanted to do? So we're seeing that happen again, where Black unemployment without any targeted relief or strategic programming. We're looking at 2030s before unemployment numbers reach us back to January 2020, Thomas said. This is crazy. Hicks has found some help with his search by joining the Ready to Work boot camp at the LA Black Worker Center. They're locking us out. This is what you vote for when you push the blue button, or when you don't show up at all, because they showing up to keep us locked out. That's exactly what's happening. Let me see what I got next. Black Californians struggle within a challenging job market. They're not hiring us. Clearly. Okay, so I did want to share this video with y'all real quick. I don't know, you guys may have seen this, but I'm going to show it again to have it memorialized here about what Auntie Max did to the homeless. Let's just share it. Hold on, guys. Okay. This is what's happening. I'm giving you a peek into your future. if y'all keep this dumb shiggity up, okay? Where is it at? Here we go. Make sure y'all can see it. Yep.
Yesterday is when I saw people standing on the street and they thought they could get Section 8 vouchers here. Right. You cannot get Section 8 vouchers here. But who put that information? Section 8 vouchers is a long line. We are fighting in Washington in something called the Build Back Better program. I put $25 billion that we're fighting to give people more Section 8. Now, the money that is available is for the absolute homeless under the emergency program. And that's what you started signing up for today. But because it could not be organized in a way, the workers that we forced to come down here from Lhasa and place to take the applications, they have put down their laptops and they are gone. There are no more applications.
Did they move locations, Maxie? Because I'm hearing one is on Wilshire. Did they move another location where they're taking apps? Is there any more locations than this one? Might have been. There's so many people out here.
1 minute. I want everybody to go home. And I want
We don't got no home. Okay. That's why we here. Miss McKinney, Miss Waters, get home. We gonna go too.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Nothing is going to happen anymore today.
So what about
But
all these names?
what we're gonna well, that's what give That's why I'm here. And so I will be downtown with Lhasa. I will get the housing authority. That's why they came out here today. I made them come out here. And I'm going to go.
And you need to know why they're failing, because Blanca Jimenez repeated, we gave us several meeting requests for you concerning this in Lhasa for years. And now they're sitting there.
There's nobody in Washington who works for their people in a harder than I do.
I believe you.
I don't want to hear that.
I believe you. So can we finish though? Work with me.
No.
Work with me so we can house people. That's what I'm doing.
I do every day.
You do every day. I'm doing a damn
the
street.
money that you got in Washington, D.C. I will continue to work. I will get information. There's no more vouchers today.
There were never no vouchers.
And Blanca Jimenez is in charge down there at Lhasa. This is coming for y'all. As y'all sit up here and think you got the luxury of not voting, of withholding your vote. You're not going to vote for Herschel or anybody that's a repugnant clan who wants to close these borders. So you're going to allow these immigrants who everything is being thrown at and the kitchen sink, you're going to allow them to take your place. So now they will have successfully not only neutralized you economically, they have rendered your vote powerless because you refuse to weaponize it. Let me keep going. Okay. I'm at 7:54. I'm going to keep going. How many blacks own homes in California? In 2019, the Latino homeownership rate stood at 44.1% or 19.2 points below that of white households. The black homeownership rate was even more worrisome at 36.8% or 26.4 points below the rate for white households. These Latinos are winning, and you think they're going to vote for the GOP. They getting our reparations and protections and housings and jobs, and you think they going to run out here and vote for the GOP. I already showed you in the data. I put it on the screen so you can see I wasn't making shit up. That they are trending towards the Democrats because they're getting everything from the Democrats. They have lost all consternation when it comes to abortion, when it comes to LGBTQIA, XYZ. They don't give a damn about them issues like they once did because the Democrats are giving them the life we should have long been afforded. You don't have the luxury. Let's go to the next slide. I'm just jumping around, y'all. Let's just, okay, I don't want to do that. It's too bogged down, too heavy. Okay, so I wanted to talk with you guys about how we've been firebombed down here. And they're still doing this kind of stuff to us. You've got the LA gang members. You've got the gang members on in the sheriff's department. The sheriff, Villanueva, is he leads the gangs. Let me see here. East LA gang member. This is March 23, 21. Okay, let's see what this says. East LA gang member who led firebombing of African-American residences sentenced to 16 years in federal prison. A senior member of the Big Hazard Street gang was sentenced today to 192 months in federal prison for orchestrating and executing the nighttime firebombing of African-American families at the Ramona Gardens housing development in Boyle Heights in 2014 in order to force the residents out of their homes. Carlos Hernandez, 36, a.k.a. Ryder or Creeper, was sentenced by the Honorable U.S. District Judge Christina A. Snyder. During the hearing, Judge Snyder explained that her sentence was intended to send a message to the community that hate crimes will not be tolerated and that this was not a time for any court to tolerate hate crimes. And yet Joe Crow, who got 72% of the Asian vote, like I just read, pivoted and gave Asians our reparations and protections. Our protections to be enforced be damned, right? Moving on, I'm just giving you a little bit, a lot of this stuff I did in archives. You have to come over to my channel and check it out. Okay, let's see over here. Look at these Mickey Fickies in the police force. Hold on. 2 LASD deputies relieved of duty amid fraud scheme. Probe have close ties to Villanueva. LA County Sheriff's deputies served a search warrant in Monterey Park Friday at a gun shop called Cap's Armory, which is frequented by law enforcement, including deputies. The owner, Roy Yamamoto, is a big supporter of Sheriff Alex Villanueva and even hosted a fundraiser for his re-election campaign last month. This is what happens when y'all asses don't get to the polls and vote in your interest. The Asians are big fans of the Hispanics. They work together down here to oppress us, to murder us. Rest in peace, Latasha Harlins. Okay? This is what they're doing. And I'm telling you, if you don't get out here and weaponize your vote, it's coming to you. The search warrant is connected to 2 female deputies who were relieved of duty Thursday, Deputy Giselle Del Real and Deputy Kerry Robles. They were suspended from duty pending the outcome of an investigation into their alleged involvement in an unspecified scheme to defraud the citizens of LA County. Okay, moving on. Just giving you a peek into your future if you don't get out here and grow a backbone. So, let's look at this. Hold on. Well, let's go back to that. Okay. So we are an at-will state. This is why it's very imperative that we get protected state, county, and city jobs where it's not so easy to terminate us. Because this is an at-will state, meaning the employer can hire you last and fire you first and never even have to give you cause. So now the government has been complicit, especially post-pandemic, in replacing us with immigrants all through the county jobs, all through the state jobs, all through the city jobs. They're in a position to hire their own, and that's exactly what they're doing. Moving on. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Here we go. Governor Newsom, who has aspirations to become the president, who will definitely drive this country into the toilet over illegal immigration. He's going to put thousands on what Joe Crow has already done to shore up these illegals. How California built a safety net for undocumented immigrants. They're not even held to E-Verify anymore. They're giving the undocumented our jobs. July 14, 22, expansion of its Medicaid health care program was just the latest milestone in the social safety net for 2.3 million undocumented immigrants. That includes driver's licenses, tax breaks, and pandemic relief. You know that relief that never made it to the blacks here in the state, especially the ones that are homeless, especially the ones who don't have bank accounts. That just shifted from us into other areas with no oversight, no audits. Okay. Isabel Coronel, 76, walked into a hospital for the first time in almost 30 years last month. She's been in this country 30 years as undocumented. Coronel, an undocumented immigrant, has spent decades laboring in the fields of Southern California's Inland Empire, picking watermelons, cilantro, and radishes. She didn't have health insurance and feared deportation if she tried to access medical care. She endured high cholesterol and blood pressure, severe knee pain, vision loss, and the long-term effects of her January bout with COVID-19 rather than risk a hospital visit. That changed on May 1st when Coronel became eligible for Medi-Cal, California's Medicaid health care program. She was among 235,000 undocumented adults who gained access to the state's income-based health insurance network through a new expansion of the program signed by who? Governor Gavin Newsom last year, with presidential aspirations to turn the country into California. I give thanks to God that I now have my Medi-Cal because I didn't go to the doctor before, Coronel said in Spanish. Many of us need to go to the doctors, and we don't because we don't have the ways to do so, and we have fear of everything. Is Newsom doing this for our homeless? Over 40% living on Skid Row? No, he's taking the resources, he's taking our reparations and protections and giving it to 2.3 million undocumented. While our people go hungry, while they get evicted, while they go homeless, while their kids are being miseducated. But y'all think you got the luxury of staying your asses at home and not weaponizing your vote. Back to the text. The milestones include driver license, protections from deportation. See, Trump had ICE up in this piece. Trump had ICE up in California wiping this out of here. They were afraid. I told y'all on prior broadcasts, they were afraid to enter the country under Trump. Protections for deportation, tax breaks, COVID-19 pandemic relief, and now healthcare. It's the strongest social safety net for undocumented immigrants in the country, advocates say. Undocumented immigrants don't get out of the system what they put into the system. So I hope this serves as an example to the rest of the country, said State Senator Maria Elena Durazo, an LA Democrat. We're in the forefront of policies to treat the undocumented as real Americans, real Californians, because they contribute so much. The immigrant-friendly policies come at a time when other states are trying to push away undocumented residents. In Texas, leaders are empowering state authorities to return migrants to the border. And last month, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation that requires law enforcement agencies in the state to work with immigration and customs enforcement to crack down on immigration. And you don't think they're going to get my vote? You got me mixed up. That's exactly who I'm voting for. I'm done with that one. Next. What's this? I'm just going through all my articles doing my rants. Okay, I don't know what that is. Listen, here we go. Newsom gearing up to make the country California. Newsom plans to run for president if Biden won't. I'm reading from the Washington Free Beacon. Dated September 20th, 22, not even a month ago. California Governor Gavin Newsom is dead set on running for president in 24 if President Joe Biden doesn't seek a second term, according to a Monday report from The Wrap. Sources close to the governor told the outlet Newsom plans to declare a presidential campaign run following the upcoming midterms if Biden announces he's sitting out 24. Buzz about Newsom's presidential aspirations comes as Biden backtracked this week on his commitment that he would run in 24, saying it's much too early to make that kind of decision. Some Democratic Party insiders have also reportedly suggested the president should not seek another term. No ifs, ands, or buts. He will run if Biden does not. One California fundraiser connected to the Newsom family told The Wrap. Another individual, a Los Angeles philanthropist and Democratic fundraiser, also confirmed that Newsom intends to run. Newsom in recent weeks has worked to boost his national profile, taking out advertising across the country and challenging Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to a debate. The governor's track record during the COVID-19 pandemic could be a liability in a presidential race. Newsom elicited outrage for California's pandemic measures that shut down businesses and churches. He also faced accusations of hypocrisy when he violated California's social distancing guidelines to attend a dinner at a swanky Napa Valley restaurant. He is about to run and do to the country what he's done to California. And what does that mean for us as American freedmen? We are finished if y'all don't get out here and weaponize this vote. A son already told you, don't be playing with this ballot. Know your state laws concerning your ballot. Know your state election laws concerning your ballot. Y'all sitting up here talking about writing any manner of thing in there in lieu of a closed border candidate. You are setting your people up for erasure and replacement. And I'm definitely calling out those of us who claim to be in the contemporary reparations grassroots movement doing this dumb shiggity. It is a disgrace to the people not to take the revolution all the way. It's disgraceful to sit up here and tell me you're not going to vote for Herschel, even though he wants to close the borders, because he's anti-freedmen. Who the hell ain't? Who the hell ain't anti-freedmen? Even Raphael Warnock ain't for reparations. He won't even mouth it. He ran from Greg Marcel Dixon. You saw it on video. And he sat and talked nicely with the white lady, talking about all her ambitions and dreams and shit. While he showed you the hood. While he shared with you that that place is 60% black and 70% in poverty or something crazy. Come on now. It's crazy that we continue to do this. I'm going to go past that one. Let me go to the next one. I'm almost done with my rant. Okay, 1980 to 2000 immigrant influx generally explains about 20 to 60% of the decline in wages, 25% of the decline in employment, and about 10% of the rise in incarceration rates among blacks with a high school education or less. Let's get into it. This is the effects of immigration on African American employment and incarceration. Almost everybody knows that in the past 40 years, the real wages and job prospects for low-skilled men, especially low-skilled minority workers, have fallen. And there is evidence, although no consensus, that a rising tide of immigration is partly to blame. No, it's solely to blame. And of course, weaponizing our black skin against us to jail us for pick a reason. Now, a new NBER study suggests that immigration has far more reaching consequences than merely depressing wages and lowering employment rates of low-skilled African-American males. Its effects also appear to push some would-be workers into crime and later into prison. This is why I'm against, yes, you have to call out black crime and murder, but I would love to hear us call out more how we got to black crime and murder. By neutralizing the black man economically. They've created, these white folks, institutional systemic racism has created the wars in our communities with the help of the race soldiers and the gangs therein. I'd like to hear us screaming louder about how our people became fatherless, how our people have the lowest rates of marriage, the highest rates of abortion, the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, underemployment, miseducation, redlining into environmentally racist communities and tenement housing. How did we get here? We were legislated here. This is survival of the fittest oftentimes. They're not being hired. And this just isn't happening with the low-skilled laborers. I just share with you a few examples. I'll share with you about my past here, my history here with Wells Fargo Bank, how they replaced all of us from the teller all the way up through upper-level management with immigrants. And then coax them to rip off the customers. Remarkably, as far as we know, no study has examined if there's a link between the resurgence of large-scale immigration and the employment and incarceration trends in the black population. Okay, these were co-authors George Boreas, Jeffrey Grogger, and Gordon Hanson write in Immigration and African-American Employment Opportunities, the response of wages, employment, and incarceration to labor supply shocks. NBER working paper number 12518. The authors are careful to point out that even without increased immigration, most of the fall in employment and increase in jailed black men would have happened anyway. Hello, Joe Crow, author of the 94 crime bill. Now war on poverty. Vis-a-vis the Freedmen vote. Nevertheless, the racially disproportionate effects of immigration on employment are striking. Changing technology, government programs, and a stagnant real minimum wage have all been blamed for the poor labor market performance of low-skilled and minority workers. Another key reason the authors show is immigration. Using census data from 1960 to 2000, the authors trace the evolution of wages, employment, and incarceration rates for particular skilled groups in the black and white populations. They then relate the trends observed in these variables to the increases in immigration experienced by each skill group. The observed correlation suggests that immigration is an important underlying factor influencing the observed trends. In particular, their analysis finds that a 10% rise in immigrants in a particular skill group specifically trimmed the wages of black and white men alike. For African Americans, the decline was 3.6%. For whites, it was actually slightly higher, 3.8%. Beyond that, however, the black-white, and that's because they were making more to begin with. Beyond that, however, the black-white experience differed markedly, especially for low-skilled workers. Take employment rates. From 1960 to 2000, black high school dropouts saw their employment rates drop 33 percentage points from 88.6% to 55.7%. Now, this is a report from 2007. Imagine what these numbers are today. From 88.6% to 55.7%, the authors found in their analysis of census data from 1960 to 2000. The decrease for white high school dropouts was only roughly half that, from 94.1% to 76%. One reason the authors argue is that black employment is more sensitive to an immigration influx than white employment. For white men, an immigration boost of 10% caused their employment rate to fall just 0.7 percentage points. For Black men, it fell 2.4 percentage points. 2007. But y'all want to stay home and not vote for anybody. Y'all wait for tangibles. No tangibles, no vote. Y'all wait no reparations. And I'm screaming that this is our most imminent threat that we must weaponize the vote to neutralize. Moving on. Let me see what else I got to share. Okay, you don't need this one. We did that one. Okay, family. I think I'm done with my rant. Oh, my God. This is a lot, y'all. It's a lot. Let me see what y'all saying about it over here real quick. I can't read everything, y'all. Y'all been busy. Gavin Newsom is part of the Nancy Pelosi crime family. Love my folks says, working a job benefits the employer and the employee. It is not a contribution to the country. Yaira says, war nuts ran from Dixon over to the white lady and gave her his boot. Trayvon Martin says, insane optimist, welcome to the live. Enjoys no rest. Zimmerman's presence and disgust for Black Americans blankets the country via racist attack on Black children and all Democrat and Latino city council. Honey, yes. And it's coming to a state near you. It's coming. Oh, thank you, family, for your kind words. Okay. Let me see here, y'all. I'm just picking off the most important ones. Okay, I think that's good, y'all, in terms of like the most critical comments that I want to share with you guys. I want, son, did you have anything else to bless the mic with before I pray us out, put a covering over us?
Nah, I think you handled it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here and dropping that fire as always, and I can't wait to have you back. You always bring the fire. I thank you so much for being here. A question that I've been asking is how to weaponize your vote. You've explained it in a simple form. Voting down ballot is simply putting your weapon on the ground. Okay? Yes, let me explain it. When I say weaponize your vote, that means stepping outside of your comfort zone to vote for closed border candidates. Party be damned. That's usually repugnant clans. Yes, I mean, in the case of, say, a Warnock and a Herschel, I'm telling you to please cast your vote for Herschel to close these borders. I'm asking you to get out of your emotions and do what it takes to save the line. And I'm telling you, if you don't weaponize your vote, you leave the fate of our line in the hands of immigrants who seek to replace us and Crayola white supremacists who seek to erase us. That's what weaponize your vote and socialize your suffering mean. Because when the Democrats, as you currently see, have a trifecta, American freedmen are the only ones in distress. I'm asking you to grow the backbone and the cojones of our ancestors who didn't have the luxury of education and social media, and yet they weaponized that vote and transitioned from the repugnant clans to the Democrats to get civil rights done. I'm asking you to take on their spirit and go to these polls and decimate the Democrats for their intentional neglect and their ethno-genocidal plans to erase us. That's what you're doing when you weaponize your vote. You're using it as a gun and you're aiming it to kill the Democrats for several election cycles. That's what I'm asking you to do. With that being said, family, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedmen and its allies are, God, you are the faithful God. Yes, you are. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God, family. If no one's told you how much they love you today, know that I love you, Black, and I love you, Freedmen.